All right, let's get into, if you guys were running the state high school league and you could change, we just got done talking about this, how they do the state tournament, make more classes, less classes. If you could run it, what type of changes would you like to see done for basketball? What do you think?
Well, fewer classes, in my opinion, and something maybe similar to what you mentioned a while ago. The other thing, I want to be sure that the kids feel like they're coming to the state tournament. One time, remember, we played the first round of the state tournament at St. Cloud, et cetera, which I think, you're not in the state tournament until you come to the big venue, I don't think. So my granddaughter was in the state soccer tournament in Chisago Lakes. Well, they got beaten in the first round, and so they're done. Well, they didn't really feel like they were in the state tournament. So somehow, we have to be sure that the kids who are in the state tournament feel that they're in the state tournament and that they aren't one and done. Remember, I think they changed that. Remember, at one time, you lose the first game, you're done. Now I think consolation. Now you're in consolation, which is a big improvement. But we have too many classes now, in my opinion.
I look back at my experience in going to state tournaments, taking the team to the state tournament, staying together in a hotel for 3 days, eating meals together, getting to know the kids that much better. The highlight, the games are certainly great, but that was certainly a highlight for me, getting to know the kids that much better too.
Did you have to get them the consolation games? The one time, we had a hard time with the consolation game. They didn't want to. We kind of had to do a sell job there a little bit. They wanted to go home. We lost in the semis once. And
we played one consolation game, and we played Cretin, I guess, on a Saturday morning. We won it, I guess, but they were prepared. It was something they look for all year long to play in a state tournament, whether it's this consolation, what it is.
They did come around a little bit, but it was kind of a morose supper that they didn't want to play.
So
I can't comment. I go to San Diego. I'm out of town. I missed the tournament big time, but I don't have any.
I would play it down to a Final Four, I think, with 4 classes. But
So stay with 4 classes and just
the
Final
state
Four?
tournament is the Final Four.
Zig, I know you have some ideas.
Well, I served on a committee once up at St. Cloud, and they try and figure out where to play the games, but there's only half a dozen, not even that many, large schools. They're all here. And then you wound up having to go at St. Cloud to play, first or second game. And people don't follow it then. I get the feeling that there's also economics of capitalism. When there's everybody's taking spring breaks, the whole school's out. We have substitute bands playing in the state tournament now.
Yeah, they do.
They have others, a team that's not in the tournament plays for the team that is, because they can't round up and that's in 4A basketball. I mean, the largest class. So I think that the media has changed things. People coming down, and then there's I don't know if we have the real answer to it, because you also have girls' sports. And when it comes to community backing and, getting in your car and driving 80 miles, the parents will go and neighbors, but try to move the student body next week and Steve, the money that's involved, and
we had people in our town that used to go to the state tournament every year. They had season tickets, but when girls' sports and wrestling came in, so if your girls' team goes one week and your boys aren't in the next week, you're probably not going to come back to the Twin Cities.
Yeah, it's financially, it's a big deal to make all those trips.
The administrators always used to come for the boys basketball
Yeah.
tournament. Now, they all go to the hockey one. The administrators meet
That's when they have their meetings, yeah.
at the state hockey
Yeah.
tournament. More people, more schools. Administrators just love it. You know, they they get things paid for, and
And remember when you first started coaching, they used to give us money to go to the state tournament. When girls' sports came,
Yeah.
it went out.
Dried up quickly.
That dried up very quickly.
that's a big difference now. I
It
think
is.
the teams that have gone to classes in other states, the smaller schools benefit, but the general state interest, they can't follow it. Can't follow all those sections and pick out good players, and they don't meet against each other. And I was in Wisconsin for the Wisconsin smaller school tournament, and the championship game was decided by over 50 points, and it could have been 80 points, because a team from a private school from southern, let's see, what'd be the biggest, from southern Wisconsin, parochial school. They're in the small school, but they're a ranked team nationally. You know, all levels. And so private school thing is a big factor in this thing. We see it here with De La Salle being able to dominate. They don't get up to a certain size, although they're non-conference, they play,
Right.
and then they play a few out of state. But that would be, typical of a small school. Right now, Minnehaha Academy, check their training schedule, where they go after school. Those kids are trained right at a training center, right out of the school building into the training center. And it's a whole different thing. They can pick and choose kids. And
Well, that leads to maybe the next question. I'm just curious about what you guys think of the hot topic of high school coaches that recruit. That do some of that type of stuff, which I can't stand. Because I have so much respect for the program that Jack has here with my dad involved. And it's like, you'd win or lose with the kids from the neighborhood, and that's high school sports. So what do you guys, that's how I see it.
I'll make one comment here, because Minnetonka has a new basketball coach. I've been seconding you. Ryan Freeberg's his name. Nice young guy, and I had a chance to meet him. And he said, I want to talk to you about general things, etc. So I just talked briefly, but I said, you have 825 kids in a class. You got each class. You should be able to find 5 kids in Minnetonka schools that live in the district that can play basketball. I said, what I don't want you to do is I don't want to hear that you're recruiting people, because as soon as I hear you recruiting people, I'm not going to support you. And I've been in this district since 1958.
I used to go out with.
Go pick up the kids. I can go down through Minnetonka and I can see Bobby Newman lived here. Steve Comer lived here. He lived here. They're all community kids. You should be able to, whether you win or lose, you're not going to win all the time. And that's not the purpose of it all anyway.
all out AAU. These kids are in 7th grade, are playing national AAU tournaments right now. They travel, they have fundraisers for them, and one small area can supply 3 high schools around the suburban area easily. And a lot of them are, well, one school went almost defunct, but then the suburban schools around them, all of a sudden, those are all in the state tournament. And I don't know how you can turn that clock backwards, because more and more guys that are in coaching now, at least their assistant coaches, are guys who are really active in AAU basketball. And when the assistant coach moves to a head job somewhere else, all of a sudden there's a whole new group of kids that come in there and they're not neighborhood kids. They're,
I used to go out with the coaches after the game, it used to be fun. We used to talk, how do you defend the pick and roll? Now we discuss which parent is unhappy and could we get this guy to come to our school? And, that's not as enjoyable for me anymore.
We always practice every Saturday, and I'm just talking earlier about 25 years ago, morning Saturday practice, Jake and I were talking. That morning in the paper, they talked about AAU programs are going to start in Minnesota. So we got together during the practice time and talked about it after, and we thought, well, it's going to help promote basketball. Anywhere we can promote basketball, great. And kids are going to play more. But we also looked at the downside, which is what has happened. And that's exactly, I don't go to a state tournament, I shouldn't say that, because I don't like all-star games. And I went maybe 7 or 8 years ago, one of my former players was at Bruton, and he was in there. And he had 3 or 4 years, and he did very well. And that's the last time I've been there. I just don't. We have tried to stay away from any kind of kid who wanted to come to our program, and had several calls because kids here have been successful, wanted to know if their son could play here. And our response was that, if you live here and work here, are the rules that you got to follow. And that we love to have them, but that's it. And as far as I know, right now, I have every kid that's graduated that played basketball here has had the same area code, and we just won't take them. We got kids. I started the basketball program. I don't know what year Jeff was, 47 years or whatever years ago, and every kid that went there wanted to be a Jefferson basketball player, and wanted to give them that opportunity. I don't want to take that away from them. And you do that. Some kids are better, you're definitely better than somebody around, but you got to live with yourself.
It ruins the season-long competition because the good kids end up 1 or 2 schools, and who do they play? Well, they play maybe some of the schools that lost kids to these teams, and they can't compete with them anymore. And it just, I don't care for it at all. But I understand the high school league doesn't have the
policing.
legality part of it. They're just afraid to challenge a lot of this stuff.
Well, we all have stories. We wanted to tell stories about recruiting. I could,
Yeah.
all kinds of people I know who have been contacted, et cetera, and it's just terrible. To me, it's ruined the high school game for me to go to a high school game. When I know that this team's got 4 kids that came in, and not that Minnetonka at 1 year at the state tournament had 4 or 5 kids that were not Minnetonka kids, and it just killed me. I just can't.
that's really not always a basketball issue. That's a legal transfers.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, sure.
you're entitled to go to this, whatever. If your school's open for enrollment, then kid will go where there's space for him. And we've had kids come from Cooper to Mounds View. They don't always fit in, but you can tell that they're transferring just to play basketball. And they're not even their best players. They're the kids who can't play at Cooper. Right. they want to play somewhere, and open enrollment allows them to move around. And I just look in here at Mounds View. I've got, they've just decided everybody's going to play. And so we have a traveling team, nice uniforms, coaches. Some of the coaches are ex-players. But I see there's a 6th grade green, a 6th grade white, a 6th grade black, a 6th grade white, and they all play. They all play, and they play in tournaments every weekend. That's why we can't get in the gyms on weekends.
You're right, Ziggy, that it's changed, but my opinion, and I'm really strongly about this, that the coach can determine whether or not the kid that moves in is going to play. The coach can say, I'm going to play the kids that have come through my program. period. So if you're gonna come here, you can come, but you're not gonna come in and take a starting spot away from a kid whose turn it is to be in that place. That's my opinion.
That's why I'll back that 100%, but you've got Sweet Pea's mother and dad out there organizing a group to get you the hell out of there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And administrators have said, boy, we've got 500 open enrolled kids here. See, that means our program, we're selling it. I say sometimes it's a state tournament thing. Okay, I'm gonna go here because we can get to the state tournament. I don't think it's because your program is, your math program is that good. I had the girls, for 2 years, and I had half of Park Center's team. And one of the girls I asked one time we were talking, I said, why did you come here? Oh, she said, I came for the math program. The other girl started laughing. She said, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah,
Somebody in our league moved because of the music program at one time, didn't they? As you would recall?
For what reason?
Music.
Music? Oh.
Warren, I thought you were gonna say they came to Osseo so they could have you as a coach, not the math program.
But our first game was against Park Center, and we won like 90-30. I got very little satisfaction out of that. I mean, everybody says, boy, you really did a good job. You really worked well with I got half their team. How can you be telling me what a great, I told them when I left that I didn't get a lot of satisfaction out of that. I was getting transfers.
Well, Jeff has got a great quote. I'd rather what's the quote? I'd rather lose with my own kids than win with somebody else's.
And you know what? That hurts basketball, because if those girls would have stayed at Park Center, that might have been a good game.
Yeah, that's the
And it
competition
would've-
is
it
lost.
would've- it draw- And what did we get out of that? I mean, I got very little satisfaction out of that.
I got one more question for you guys, and we're done. If you could go back and do something differently, what would that be? Just as a coach, if there's anything you could go back and do something a little bit different. Maybe it's something small, maybe it's something big.
Remember how John Wooden used to talk about overcoaching? I don't think I understood that until very end. Like if you've got a kid who has a knack for blocking shots, I would tell him, don't leave your feet. Now I think I would, okay, let's try to work with that instead of telling him that you can't do that. Does that make sense? Let's see if we can't develop your special skill. Because a block shot here and there does help you. But I would, oh boy, don't leave your feet. No, I just told you about the guy who left his feet. But, so I'm being a little, don't snicker back. But, I think there's a time when, I used to tell a kid in the post, okay, I think now I would tell him, okay, show me how you can score. And then I would try to refine it. So I wish I could go back and maybe not overcoach.
I would, if I had to do it over again, I would concentrate more and more, or put more emphasis on life skills that you can get from the game of basketball. You do the teamwork and the things really not basketball related, but relationship related. Maybe put more emphasis on that, because you get caught up in trying to work the best you can against this or that, and it's too much. It was too much sometimes on the technical aspects of basketball instead of the relationships in basketball. I could have done better at that.